Finally, I have arrived. For a biologist, the archipelago of the Bissagos Islands is a dream come true, especially if, like me, you are passionate about small creatures which tend to go unnoticed and are hidden from our gaze. I am exploring a labyrinth of 88 islands, of which only 20 are inhabited, among which the Atlantic Ocean recedes at low tide to reveal numerous sandbanks and mudflats. The Bissagos Islands are a part of Guinea-Bissau on the West African coast. They have been recognized by UNESCO as a Biosphere Reserve. There is no doubt that this is well deserved, as this ecosystem is a veritable natural treasure, owing to the diversity and abundance of its flora and fauna. Indeed, it is considered the second most important area in West Africa for the number and variety of migratory birds which visit it. This is but one example of what the Bissagos Islands have to offer those of us who love wild nature. What I'm looking for now is a species that can be found only here. A unique animal because of how it has adapted itself to the environment in which it lives. Although it is not exactly small. On these islands, where barely 2,000 people live, a local fisherman has just told me the location of one of the few freshwater lakes in the area, so I'm on my way there to see its biodiversity. Here they are. It is really exciting to be able to observe these hippopotamuses, which are unique in the world. This is because they have adapted themselves to live also in saltwater. Now they are enjoying this lagoon fed by the rainy season, where they spend the day submerged to protect their delicate skin from the relentless sun. But as the dry season advances, it will gradually dry up. Then these giants will have to move to areas of the island flooded by the tides. They are the only members of their species to have developed this adaptation. Coming to this lagoon has certainly been an excellent idea. Right now I am observing a huge crocodile which must be over 3 meters long and is one of the most impressive creatures in this ecosystem. Provided that the hippopotamuses are not around, because crocodiles do keep their distance from them. I am also watching a large number of birds from many different species. There are African darters, a snake-necked cormorant, sacred ibises, pied kingfishers, several species of herons, many Egyptian geese. Observing the animal's life cycle is truly a great pleasure. Notice this tree with its huge number of weaverbird nests. I'm going to get closer to see it properly. The males of this species trust that they will be successful in attracting one or several females by offering them an attractive nest. During the breeding season, each male bird will build several nests, which the female will examine conscientiously before accepting. She will choose one in which to lay her eggs. While she takes care of feeding the chicks, the male will protect the nests from the intrusion of other males. Given the number of neighbours who crowd the colony and are equally zealous in defending their territory, this is no simple matter. We have picked this one up from the ground. Just look at the amazing nest this bird builds. The male collects grass and interweaves it to make this structure of veritable natural engineering. Notice how it is perfectly secured to this branch. Moreover, the entrance is constructed below to prevent predators from reaching the eggs or chicks. Even so, many animals manage to capture them. I move away from the weaverbird colony through one of the most important ecosystems of the Bissagos Islands, the Savannah. Many of the paths which allow me to pass these walls of vegetation are the result of the passage of the hippopotamuses. When the sun goes down, it will be these giants who take possession of these trails. They will abandon the lagoon to feed. Although during the day they remain in groups, during the night they scatter on the savannah in search of the between 30 and 50 kilos of food an adult individual is capable of devouring in a night. This feast sometimes includes the crops of the inhabitants of the small villages dotted around the island. We always imagine that amphibians live in very humid habitats, but there are also some species on the savannah which have managed to adapt to this extreme arid environment, such as this tree frog. When the hottest weather arrives, it buries itself and generates around itself a layer of mucus so as to maintain its humidity throughout this period. A much more extreme adaptation to the arid climate is shown by this beautiful West African reed frog, which spends the whole of the dry season motionless on a branch, waiting for the rainy season. In order to achieve this adaptation, the species has developed several strategies. It shrinks as much as it can and covers itself with a mucus substance which literally seals its body. This not only secures it to the branch, but also reduces water loss. When the temperature exceeds 39 degrees centigrade, its skin turns white thanks to uric acid crystals which reflect the sunlight. In this way, the frog can hold out for several months and withstand a water loss of up to 50% of their weight. We've just found this osprey in distress because, on diving to catch its prey, no doubt too large a fish, it has wet its feathers and now cannot take off. It was swimming in the middle of the mangrove swamp and we have caught it in order to dry it out and place it on a branch. I hold it carefully but at the same time firmly, so that it doesn't hurt itself if it tries to break free, and also because it has some pretty formidable arguments in favour of making me the injured party. Finally, we find a good place to leave it. Here it is protected from direct sunlight where its plumage dries. This is also a good location from which it can take flight and once again patrol the skies of the Bissagos Islands with its companions. The mangrove swamp is another of the major ecosystems of these islands. I penetrate into a hazy territory with no clear division between land and water. This environment is as extraordinary as the animal and plant species which live in it. The mangrove swamp is also a place where the Bissago people find food. In particular, the mollusks they gather from the roots of the mangroves which they reach in their traditional canoes. Mangrove swamps are very important from a biological point of view because it is here where numerous marine species lay their eggs and their fry spend the early stages of their life cycle. In addition, it provides nesting sites and hunting territories for many other animals. Moreover, the mangrove swamp constitutes a defensive wall against the erosion of the sea and even against tsunamis. In this archipelago, the mangrove swamps are formed above all by two species, the red mangrove and the white mangrove. Here we have the red mangrove, which has roots like stilts so as to be able to fasten itself to a substratum as unstable as this mud. It also has adaptations to expel the excess salt from this water. With so much mud, it's hard to move about the mangrove swamp, but it's worthwhile to find such exclusive fauna. However, I must not take too much longer to get out of here as the tide rises rapidly up to the height of the trees. Here I have a fish which has adapted to life between water and land, the so-called mud skipper. If the mangle is the iconic plant of the mangrove swamp, the mud skipper is its equivalent from the animal kingdom. It is also a frontier being capable of surviving in both worlds and of breathing both in and out of water. When the sea recedes, the mud skippers remain. They search for food by walking on their strong pectoral fins or by jumping, propelled by their powerful tail. As we watch these peculiar fish, we are perhaps seeing how many millions of years ago marine life began to take possession of the land which had emerged. These spiders build one of the largest known webs. Moreover, each filament is so strong that it is capable of trapping vertebrate animals. But it also lives with some small neighbors which steal part of its food. If these spiders are discovered by the owner of the web, they will come to a bad end. When the golden silk spider notices, from the vibration of the threads, that an animal has been caught in its trap, it comes quickly to inject into it a paralyzing poison which also liquefies its tissues. It then wraps it in cobwebs and begins to eat it, or rather to suck the juices which its poison makes from the body of its victim. This is a feast that the little squatters which parasitize the owner's web cannot resist trying to join in on. These spiders, from the same family as the black widow, are generally content with smaller prey, but do not turn their noses up at larger mouthfuls if they can get them. It never fails to amaze me how animals only a few millimeters long, such as termites, are capable of building a fortress several meters high and as hard as concrete. Protected by soldier termites, which stand out owing to their large heads, an army of worker termites toils away constantly to build or repair any damage which may occur to their home. To achieve this, they make small balls of earth moistened with their saliva. A termite mound operates like a living organism in which each individual communicates with the others by its antennae and is aware of and carries out the work entrusted to it with a single objective: the well-being of the community. These small balls of sand are the work of some large ants which are expanding their anthill. It is best not to disturb them while they work, as these ants, which belong to a very primitive group, have stings which they do not hesitate to use in defense. I would like to tell you two very curious facts about a type of insect. Not all ants build anthills underground. Here we have a group of weaver ants which secrete a kind of silk and join together several leaves to make a home. It's their larvae that secrete the silk, held by adults in their jaws, while at the same time they stimulate them with their antennae so they can do their work. There are only 2 species of weaver ant in the world. On top of that, they also establish a relationship of mutual assistance with other insects. Can you see these small black spots on the stalk? They are small woodlice which are sucking the sap of the plant. Ants approach and stimulate the woodlice with their antennae. They release a drop of sugary liquid. The ants drink it and in return protect the woodlice. Good heavens, what an impressive group of trees. They must have seen thousands of things passing in front of them. Look at this one. Some of these tropical ceiba trees are so large that they develop these supports to bear the great weight of their branches and leaves. In addition, some plants grow on them and they are loaded with water during the rains. This fruit, which in the Bissago culture is known as Folly elephanti, comes from a large liana. Elephanti refers to the large size of the plant. Let's try it. When you pick it from the plant, it secretes very sticky white latex. All right. It has soft flesh surrounding several seeds. Ooh, its taste is quite strong. It's very acidic but pleasant at the same time. I think this fruit is perfect for eating on a hot day in the savannah. Yes, it tastes better than I thought it would. When night overcomes the Bissagos Islands, another world comes to life, which is just as fascinating as that revealed by the light of the tropical sun. The nocturnal predators which can be found here include one which is particularly unusual, the net-casting spider. This is because of its unique way of hunting. It produces an elaborate fluorescent web, which it places between its front legs. When it has finished weaving it, the spider hangs upside down and waits. When a prey species passes nearby, it throws the web over the prey to capture it. I can't believe the snake I've just found. Look how it's swelling its neck to warn me not to come too close. It's Blanding's cat snake. Notice how very slender and thin it is. As you can see, it is a tree dweller and crawls along the branches perfectly. I'm going to catch it for a moment to show you. The thing is, just look. First, its head has many small details like many drawings on the scales of the lips and elsewhere. Then if you can see, its body begins to have bands, and notice the rear part. I'm going to move my hand back a little. Look at the rear part. It begins to take on a reddish colour. It's like the lianas of the area with bands of colour as if they were lichens. I'm handling it with a hook with great care because it has fangs at the back of its jaw which are associated with poison glands. Even so, as you can see, it is very calm. It lives in the trees searching for small lizards, birds, frogs. As you can see, it's flickering its tongue. Each time it does so, it captures molecules of the smells of the surroundings to take them to a specialized organ in its mouth. This allows it to smell whether there is a prey species, a mate, or a predator nearby. I think it is definitely one of the snakes with the most beautiful designs I have ever seen. This species fascinates me. I had been searching for it for many days and I have finally found it. Very often it is in the treetops many meters from the ground. By searching very carefully in this forest among the dead leaves and the trunks, I have found 3 very interesting species of armored predators. One of them is the amblypygid, or whip spider, an animal which is very secretive and even lives in caves in total darkness. Its second pair of legs has evolved into highly mobile, flexible structures full of receivers with which it communicates with its fellows and detects its prey. It captures its victims with a quick movement from its tiny appendages. This giant centipede is a truly quick predator. It paralyzes its prey with poisonous nails which it has below its head. It can also coil them up and eat vertebrates. Just watch how fast it can move. Moreover, it is releasing a kind of chemical to defend itself, which I can easily appreciate as the smell is quite strong. Notice the size of this predatory bug. It shows warning coloration with yellow bands on its legs and 2 large white eye spots on its wings to intimidate predators. Thanks to its large compound eyes and its restless antennae, this quick and stealthy insect can detect its prey. It captures its victims by rushing at them and sinking its biting mouthparts into them to inject enzymes, which convert the organs of its prey into a liquid which the bug sucks up. At low tide, thousands of fiddler crabs come out to feed. With one claw they pick up portions of sand, take them to their mouths and filter the tiny particles of food. The males have one disproportionately large claw which they wave to defend their territory. In nature, nothing is wasted. This fish, which has been dragged away by the current, is being fed on by pied crows and hooded vultures. Just watch how the crows mob the vultures so as to keep more of the food. Some small predators are stirring up the sand. What they are creating is traps for hunting. Their builders are antlion larvae. They belong to the insect order of the neuropterans. At this stage of its life, the antlion excavates a cone which works like a funnel. When it has finished, it hides in the center and waits for a prey species, especially an ant, to fall into its hole so that it can be caught by the antlion's powerful jaws. I have been looking for this insect for days. It is highly representative of this area as it is the largest cricket in the world and the one which sings the loudest. It can reach a length of 7 centimeters. As it is nocturnal, it is now hidden under the leaf litter or under trunks. Notice the large size which invertebrates reach here. This huge millipede has yellow bands to show that it can defend itself against predators by chemical means. As you can see, it is not very fast, so it defends itself in this way. Let's leave it in its habitat once more. And speaking of striking colours, here we have the most colourful butterfly in Africa. Just look at this miniature marvel. Warm forests such as these hold a huge number of animals, but discovering them is not so easy. Many use disguises of all possible kinds in order to hide. Here we have an example. This large mantis imitates a leaf perfectly. Praying mantises are not only capable of imitating leaves. There are also species such as this one which imitate branches and trunks and which you can lose sight of in an instant. All these adaptations seem to me to be fascinating. Do you see this leaf? It looks normal, doesn't it? Nothing at all can be seen. But right in front of my finger, a small bush cricket has just moved. It imitates the leaf right down to the vein structure. It's almost impossible to see it, and it's still young. When it sheds its skin, it will have wings so as to imitate the leaf to perfection. As well as green leaves, these insects are capable of imitating dead leaves. Look at these forest cockroaches. I'm really excited. I've just found a stiletto snake. This is not only a new species for the island, but also one of the most difficult snakes in the world to handle, as it can bite without opening its mouth. This adaptation of biting without opening its mouth is due to the fact that this snake hunts in holes. It goes in to pursue its prey, and when it has captured it against the bottom of the hole, it is capable of sticking its fangs out on both sides and biting the prey to paralyze it. One of the main reasons for this journey was to find species which had not previously been recorded in this archipelago. This is the first time that this Armitage's cylindrical skink, which is endemic to West Africa, has been found on these islands. I can't believe it. Here is another new species of snake for the island. Just a moment, let me catch it so I can show it to you. Easy does it, because it is a close relative of the cobras. Alright. It's an Angolan garter snake. Its poison is neurotoxic, which means that when it bites its prey, it paralyzes its nervous system. Even so, as you can see, it uses its poison for hunting and little else. Although they are poisonous, these snakes are very calm animals. They are very shiny with bluish iridescences. My final destination here has to do with another natural wonder which makes the Bissago archipelago as unique as it is decisive in the biodiversity of our planet. It is the breeding season for various species of turtle. Every year, thousands of females navigate for many kilometers to reach the beaches where they were born so they can lay their eggs. Although turtles are very long-lived, I think that this is the true grandfather of the island. A baobab which must be hundreds of years old and is so huge that it would need 15 people to surround it. The fruits of this magnificent tree are edible, and I am very keen to see what they are like inside and to try one. The flesh is rather dry and contains a dark seed, but has a citric and rather refreshing taste. I like it. It is impossible to describe what I feel on getting this close to such an animal as magnificent, as old and as beautiful as this green turtle. This female has travelled thousands of kilometers and has just laid her eggs. Now she is covering the nest. I hope that the future will be kind to her and her young. I will leave her so that when she finishes she can rest quietly before returning to the ocean. I've just seen in the distance a green turtle which has been trapped in an intertidal pool. This coast has the additional difficulty for her of including very rocky areas in which she may become trapped and unable to return to the sea when she descends to lay her eggs. So what is this turtle doing? She is waiting for the tide to rise so she can return home. If the sun were strong, she would be scooping water over herself with her front flippers so as to not dehydrate. But at the moment, she is waiting calmly for the water to rise. While exploring the beach, I have just found a green turtle in a tricky situation. She went out last night to lay her eggs and got wedged between these rocks. I'm going to need the team's help to get her out, as otherwise she will die from the sun and from collapsed lungs. Come on guys, let's try and grab her from here and take her over there. Careful, she'll bite. She's wedged in very firmly. A moment. Be careful. Careful, careful. She can hurt you with the flippers too. We'll immobilize her with great care because she wants to bite. Okay, careful with the shell, with underneath. Okay, I'll lift her. You take her from one side and I'll take the other. Okay, let's try to guide her towards the water. Okay, that's it. Easy does it. Okay, we don't want her to get stressed out. Wow, she weighs a ton. Luckily, she seems to be okay, apart from the odd scratch to her shell and cuts to her legs from trying to escape. How amazing being able to help such an ancient animal in danger of extinction to continue its life cycle. Wow, they're leaving the nest. They are young green turtles, and what lovely little things they are. The mother dug a nest and buried it a month and a half ago, and now her young are heading for the sea. It's the most exciting experience I've ever had. A proverb from the Bissago culture says that he who saves a life deserves to be a god, and he who takes a life deserves to be a warrior. I prefer to retain just the first part.